Salutations everyone, Jonneymon here, and I will eventually be looking at everything in my collection. Collector's Editions! It's where you pay a lot of extra money to get a game that you do want, hopefully, along other stuff that you may want that will be looked at once and ultimately live its life on a shelf. Now I looked at some Collector's Editions already on my Shorts page, but I feel like the Collector's Editions that Nintendo puts out, specifically the ones made for the Switch, have been pretty lackluster, so I thought that it would be fun to look at the few I own and either point and laugh or see if they were truly worthwhile. Let's start with the Pokemon Let's Go Eevee Pokeball Plus Edition.
Again.
You might be saying, well that's not a collector's edition. Well now it is. Yeah, there was no version of this game that actually came with this steelbook. Apparently for a time Best Buy gave them out with purchases of the game, but for most people, including myself, you just had to buy it separate, which is strange because all this stuff together would have made for a good collector's edition. I like that the steelbook can serve for either version of the game, though if you bought Pikachu, you're objectively wrong. On its own, the Pokeball controller is cool and great for games that only require an analog stick and 2 buttons. And it includes Mew, how cool is that? Well, I didn't know how to actually obtain Mew in the game, only found out after I beat it, discovered that Mew was level 1 compared to my level 50 everything else, and didn't think about it past that. Next up is the Metroid Dread Special Edition. Now this sort of box set design is how most standard Switch collector's editions look. This includes a steelbook that features the exact same cover art as the retail release, an art book, and some cards featuring the box art of the rest of the mainline series games. Also molded into the tray are the Emmy robots that harass you throughout the game. Attention to detail, we like it. Honestly, for the little amount of stuff and an asking price of 90 clams, I'm not too impressed. Like the steelbook is the coolest thing out of this, and that's not saying much. If it included a figure or, God forbid, the amiibos, that'd almost make this worth it, but as it is, I don't see much reason to have this edition. Next we have the Fire Emblem 3 Houses Seasons of Warfare Edition. In this set we get this gorgeous steelbook, which is the main reason that I bought this in the first place, an art book, a CD featuring a few tracks from the soundtrack, and a 2020 calendar featuring the in-universe names for the months, as well as its mural, an unrelated character, and the calendar itself is already partially filled in with the events that take place on the corresponding dates. Honestly, the calendar is a really cute inclusion of its own. I think that the CD would have been cooler if it was the entire soundtrack, as the game's score is memorable and epic. I also don't know why they opted for this paper sleeve. I mean shit, Xenoblade fans got a whole ass jewel case in their sound selection. The real star of the show is the steelbook. This is honestly my favorite steelbook ever. The murals, the shattered glass effect that actually takes advantage of the fact that this is made out of metal. It's so nice. This edition retailed for about $100, and I think that's a bit pricey for that much, but at least this set feels like some effort was put in. It would have been cool if there was a statue of any of the main characters, or an amiibo, or some other goodies for that price, but overall, everything here is quality, so it gets a pass from me.
Hooray! Finally, a collector's edition that isn't utter shit!
Well, don't worry, because we're going right back into it. I'm going to be talking about the Bayonetta 3 Trinity Masquerade Edition. Now, there is an argument to be made that this isn't a collector's edition for the game, as it doesn't advertise itself as such, and that it's merely an alternative edition of the game geared at collectors. There is also an argument to be made that crab legs can cure cancer. Now, I don't own this edition myself, but a friend does. We were both thinking of getting it when it came out. He pulled the trigger first and convinced me to not get it. I'd never seen him so mad at a purchase before. This set includes the game. You don't get a steelbook, but you do get 2 normal cases featuring covers for Bayonetta 1 and 2, despite the fact that the standard release of Bayonetta 2 basically does that by itself, an art book, and that's it. You're meant to be able to display the cases to look like this, or this, but this looks a lot nicer in the promotional images than in real life. Also, who would display their games like this? Legit, the best thing about this set is the box it comes in. The cover makes it look cool and like there's something really good inside, but no. The friend that bought this has a shelf that he puts his collectibles on, and has this edition proudly displayed on the bottom shelf behind a bunch of other figures. Next up we have the Fire Emblem Shadow Dragon and the Blade of Light 30th Anniversary Edition. Now this collector's edition is done right. This is the 30th anniversary of the very first Fire Emblem game, released for the very first time outside of Japan. Included in this set is a digital download code for the game, a really nice art book that basically acts as a history for the series, showing art and giving details about all the games in the series up to the release of this set, a poster meant to look like an old Nintendo Power poster that looks so cool, and a replica box meant to look like this game was released in North America, complete with an instruction booklet, protective sleeve, a world map, and the MOT cartridge is a really nice piece of solid glass with the game sticker embedded in it. This whole set is so well translated from the original release of the game from the Famicom, of which I happen to have a copy for comparison. This set is so good and was released at the astonishingly low price point of just $50.
I'll make that deal. How about you, bitch? You make that deal?
I make that deal.
I don't blame you. Damn good deal.
That's insane considering what this set includes and how much higher quality this set is than everything we've looked at thus far, and it only costed a fraction of the price. As for myself, I really wanted this when it originally released, didn't realize that they only made enough copies to cover the pre-orders, and had to pick one up secondhand. But it is so worth it. Of the few collector's editions I own, this is probably the best. Now it's time for more dog shit. The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Collector's Edition. Oh boy. This is the most expensive collector's edition I own. This bad puppy retailed for 130 bones. At that price, you know there's some good stuff in store.
I mean, just look how much bigger the box it comes in is. It's gotta be brimming with great stuff.
We have a steelbook, alongside a normal retail copy of the game, which is actually nice to see since not a lot, if any, collector's editions in general include both, let alone Nintendo-published ones. But if I'm being honest here, I don't like this steelbook. The art does fit in with the game and is something you see, but I don't know, it just doesn't really scream Zelda at you while you're trying to sleep. I much prefer the standard cover, which I still think is vastly inferior to the cover of Breath of the Wild, but that's a whole other can of worms. It comes with a pin set featuring the abstract designs of the champion's secret stones in the game, without being the corresponding colors, so I actually can't tell these apart, cause I don't know who's who, cause I don't care to memorize the respective patterns. An art book, a second box featuring one of those sheet metal posters, which is kinda cool. It's not really my thing, but hey, maybe it's your thing, who am I to say? And that's it! Yeah, this fucking box is really poor considering how expensive it is. This thing retailed for the exact same amount as the Breath of the Wild Master Edition, which was a giant box that had the game, a statue of the Master Sword, an exclusive Switch carrying case meant to look like the Sheikah Slate, a sound selection, a coin, a really nice tapestry map of Hyrule, but it didn't include a steelbook, so I guess it's a toss-up between the two. Yeah, I was really disappointed with this set, especially for the price. You may be wondering why I bought it then, and the answer is... yeah, this thing just isn't worth it at all. I don't like how the steelbook looks, I don't care about the metal poster, and the pins are just kinda ugly. I mean, if they were rings like the ones Link wears in the game, that would be almost something, but instead you have a set of pins that look identical from a distance that no one will understand the reference of unless you explain it to them that barely even resemble the items they're meant to mimic. Shit, if this came with the Tears of the Kingdom Pro controller, that would almost make this set worth it for me. For me, the best part of the set is the fact that it comes with both the steelbook and the normal copy of the game. Most collector's editions aren't worth it or are just plain weird, but most Nintendo published ones feel so formulaic and soulless. There are a few exceptions, but because of how little variation there is between them, one basically represents them all. It's just weird to me that you have something expensive meant for collectors, and yet they don't seem to do anything particularly special with them. Overall, most of these collector's editions just end up feeling like overly expensive ways to experience something you did give a shit about by including things that you probably don't give a shit about, which is pretty sad, but at the very least, all these collector's editions can say they're not the Dead Island Riptide Mutilated Titty edition.